Welcome everyone to Breaking Big Blue times Giants Sports Nation show. I'm Jordan Raanan, ESPN, ESPN.com, Giants reporter. And so we're back for another, this is actually a Tuesday edition, but it's finally real football, right? None of this BS, preseason. Bobby, what are we doing here?
What do you got going on here? Click that arrow by the microphone. Here we go. Can you hear me? Click the little arrow by your microphone and then hit the HyperX quad class. Are we live?
Yes. Okay.
There we go. All right, I'll see you soon. Yep, you're good. See you soon.
All right. We'll start over here. Basically, I don't know what you guys are hearing in my ear over and over again. So,
what is going on? You're hearing yourself? Do you have yourself opened up on something else? Do you have the YouTube open? I bet you that's what it is. I bet you have YouTube open on your computer.
Look at this. This is real novice stuff. You're seeing firsthand. Exactly. I think somebody said you're seeing old man technical problems. The microphone didn't hook up automatically. It doubled. Everything was doubling up. YouTube was open, so I was hearing it on delay 5 seconds later in my ear. Boomer, exactly. Boomer, old man. So we're going to start over here. Welcome, everyone, to Breaking Big Blue. I'm your host, Jordan Raanan on ESPN, ESPN.com. We got Breaking Big Blue times Giants Sports Nation season preview. Football's actually here. We'll stick to football. Tech is not the thing. I mean, it's so disappointing because once upon a time, I viewed myself as progressive and hip and in tune with technology. And little by little, you just become the old man. And I'm just incapable of doing anything anymore. So, man, it's disappointing. But forget that for a second. Big Unk, yep. I'm big. When did this happen to me? When did this happen, man? So, anyway, we got real football. And none of this BS preseason. Okay, they played well in the preseason. Does it really mean anything? We have no idea. They're going to be playing against the other teams, real players. Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders, week 1. I find it interesting where we are in public perception because when it opened up, the Giants were basically, and for a while, 7-point underdogs on the road against the Commanders. Commanders team had a great year last year, made the NFC Championship game, first year of Jaden Daniels, first year with the coaching staff, first year with the whole front office. Everything went well for them. Little by little, the Giants, a little optimism. I think people have pulled back a little bit on the Commanders. They are a veteran team. They did make some additions to win now additions. Debo Samuel, Laramie Tunsil. So this team is designed to be good this year. Little by little, the optimism with the Giants picking up. Their defense is good. They got a lot of pieces on defense. They signed 2 veterans on the back end. Talking about Javon Holland at safety and Paulson Adebo should provide them some stability back there. And you combine them with some young players like Tyler Nubin, Drew Phillips. Okay, so now you have some stability in the back. And then the strength of the Giants. Abdul Carter hype has gone wild this summer. Brian Burns, we know, is a great player. Dexter Lawrence, we know, is a great player. I should say Brian Burns is a very, very good player. Dexter Lawrence, though, is a great player. Kayvon Thibodeau is a good player. So now we got some optimism with the Giants, specifically with their defense, right? And the spread is tick down. We're at 5.5 when I checked it this morning on ESPN Bet. So 5.5, but the win total, by the way, still sitting at 5.5. So overall, week 1, I think people look at the Giants' chances as increasing, but what they are predicted to do for the season is kind of staying the same. I think a lot of that has to do with the schedule is still tough. 8 games, NFC North, AFC West. You're talking Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. Broncos with their dominant defense. Bo Nix off a really strong rookie year. Chargers, Justin Herbert. Raiders, as bad as they were last year, a better team with Pete Carroll and Geno Smith. And then the NFC North, which, by the way, the Packers, who are already pretty good, now got Micah Parsons. Talked about that in the last episode of Breaking Big Blue. So catch that. Go check YouTube, Breaking Big Blue, or on wherever you get your audio podcasts, Spotify, whatever, Apple Podcasts, whatever, wherever it may be. But you got the Packers now with Micah Parsons. You got the Lions, who are stacked, right, all over the place. Again, good quarterback in Jared Goff. You have the Bears with supposed to be better, Caleb Williams, everything that they changed, Ben Johnson as coach. And then you have the Minnesota Vikings, who I think are stacked and loaded. And we'll see what J.J. McCarthy is. But that team has actually gotten better, in my opinion, better in the trenches, which was their weak spot. And they were awesome last year. So that's 8 games out of the division that are really tough, and a tough division because the Eagles are good. The Commanders are still pretty good. And whatever we want to think about the Commanders, maybe last year was a little bit of a mirage. They have Jaden Daniels. Gives them a chance. Should have a winning record as long as he stays healthy. Same thing with the Cowboys. As bad as things we think they may be, and they're declining, going in the wrong direction, they still have Dak Prescott. When you have a good quarterback, when you have a good quarterback, you have a chance to win a lot of games. So that's 2 games against each of those teams. That's 6. That's 14 of your 17 games. 14 of your 17 games. I just named right there. None easy. None. 0. Unless the quarterback gets injured or something crazy happens. So there we go. Bobby Skinner saying, let's hit that like button. Everybody hit the like button. Let's go. Like it. Tell your friends to join. Catch the rest of this podcast. Bobby's going to be joining us in a few minutes. We're going to have a little fun. We're going to do some over-unders. But first, I want to talk about a few things. We talked about, that's the season opener. We got Washington on the horizon. We'll get to a little more in-depth there in a few minutes. But first, one of the main things, 2 topics we got to touch on here. Jackson Dart, is he the true number 2, trending in that direction? Wouldn't completely write it in yet in permanent ink, but everything kind of seems to be going that direction. And then Andrew Thomas. So we'll start with those 2 topics for now. Jackson Dart. Okay, Giants' unofficial depth chart comes out. And Jackson Dart's second now. He's the second quarterback. He's the backup behind Russell Wilson, but ahead of Jameis Winston. Now, if you think back a few weeks ago, during the preseason, Jameis Winston was listed second, and Jackson Dart was listed third. Now, do we say it's definitely coming down, that's the way it's going to be? I will say this. These things do get passed by the front office and the coaches. It doesn't just get put out without getting looked at. Now, can they be trying to trick people? We don't know. I think we'll find out more as they practice this week, how things go down this week. But Jackson Dart was the number 2 quarterback in practice, in the preseason. Now, do they then switch it up? It's possible. The only reason I say it's possible, and I'm not ruling it out completely, is because they like to play games, and Brian Daboll didn't say anything the other day. He said, you'll find out on Sunday. I'm not going to tell you guys who's going to be the backup quarterback, who's going to be, who's going to be the number 2. And then, they put this out. This could just be based off what was the order throughout training camp, what was the order throughout the preseason. Possibility that they're playing games here. So let's see how they practice. Now, it's going to be tough to even see in practice. First of all, we're not there for when they do live drills, for when they go, when they go 11v11. They kick us out basically after individual drills or during individual drills. So we won't fully see. And also, it's worth noting, Brian Daboll really doesn't give his backup quarterback any reps anyway. So if you're in, and this is why I'm not ruling out that Jameis Winston is a backup. If you're not going to be giving your backup quarterback reps during the week to prepare directly for the Washington Commanders, and it still seems like he's exclusively or primarily going to be giving all the reps to the starter, do we really want Jackson Dart, if something happens to Russell Wilson, to come in mid-game with no practice reps and be thrown into the middle of the game? Now, everything seems to be trending in the direction of Jackson Dart being the number 2, except logic. When you sit there and think about it, who thinks that's a good idea? If you have no reps with the first team, or even if you have, let's say, 3, I think Drew Lock and Tommy DeVito told me maybe once in a while they got a rep here or there, or 3 to 5. Why would you want your rookie quarterback with a handful of first-team reps or so to have to come in the middle of a game? That doesn't seem to be the smartest move to me. Doesn't mean they won't do it. Doesn't mean they won't do it. Now, the third quarterback rule is you can have a third quarterback. He has to be on the 53-man roster, so all three with Jameis, Dart, and Wilson are all on the 53-man roster. But the third quarterback can't come in unless the other two guys are injured. Sort of like protecting for, remember the 49ers in the NFC Championship game? I believe it was against the Eagles. Maybe it was the NFC Championship. Whatever. It was the playoff game against the Eagles a couple of years ago, where the 49ers had Christian McCaffrey at quarterback for the whole game because they only had two quarterbacks, and both their quarterbacks got injured. It's protecting from that. So I still have some doubt that the Giants are going to go with Dart as their number 2 quarterback, unless Brian Daboll's switching up and prepared to give his number 2 quarterback significant reps in practice. And that we will find out more as the week goes on. Still something that the Giants aren't going to tell us. We'll have to dig deep. We'll see what happens there. As for Andrew Thomas, okay, I've looked into this the past few days. Look, he still hasn't participated in 11-11 drills during practice, so he has a ways to go. But there still remains a realistic chance that Andrew Thomas, off foot surgery last year, Liz Frank injury, was on PUP at the beginning of the summer, just got activated a couple weeks ago, only has done some individual drills and a little bit of one-on-one. It's still a realistic possibility that Andrew Thomas plays week 1 at left tackle against the Washington Commanders. Now, big caveat here. It's all contingent on how he does at practice this week. He has to go and he has to have like a full real practice. I wouldn't say full, but he has to practice in live drills, 11v11, be able to take some contact, see if his foot can hold up. Then he needs to come back the next day, see how he feels, see how he rebounds. But if that goes well, the next 2 days of practice, we're talking about Wednesday and Thursday because we're taping this on Tuesday night, there is a realistic chance, from what I understand from talking to people, that Andrew Thomas can play in week 1. Now, that being said, if he feels he's not ready, if he feels anything, if he feels discomfort, a little soreness, they should play it safe and not risk Andrew Thomas for this one game and putting him at risk for the next 16. So you play it safe, not like you did with Gunnar Olszewski last year, right? He was banged up. Obviously, clearly different player, different caliber player. But the Giants were trying to get him back for week 1 last year. We saw him running at practice heading into week 1, and we're like, there's no way that guy should be going out on the field anytime soon. He tries to get out there, gets out there in pregame warmups, hurts his hamstring again, and we don't see him the rest of the year. And it ended his season. Now he's back, but it was a grind, and most people didn't think, and I didn't think he'd be back this year either. So be careful. And I know people want Bo. I see Mr. Handsome up here saying Bo would fill in well. I think it's a bad idea. You signed James Hudson as your swing tackle. You paid him money. You made that evaluation. You got to stick with that. Taking Bo, who's played majority of his time, 80 to 90% of his reps this summer at right tackle, to start him week 1 of his rookie year and flip him at left tackle, to me, would be a mistake. Then what did you sign James Hudson for? What kind of evaluation did you have on James Hudson when you signed him? You paid him money, by the way, too. And that's a tough spot to put Marcus Bo, a rookie 5th-round pick, to start him at left tackle in week 1. I think that would be a mistake for the Giants. So let him, work at right tackle. Let him get used to the NFL. He hasn't faced game speed yet. Marcus Bo hasn't really faced first-team high-end pass rushers yet in the preseason. Let's not jump the gun there. If you have to play somebody, it should be James Hudson III. Started games for the Cleveland Browns. I was actually speaking to someone recently who was telling me about James Hudson. Browns fans weren't really that high on James Hudson. Fine, he's a backup. Yeah, and if you play long term, if he has to play and start long term, expect, pressures and sacks. But what James Hudson can do is he could scrap a game or two as a starter there. He's a serviceable guy to play for a game or two. That's what you would be looking at here. So this is what you signed him for. To then go and alter the plan before week 1, to me, would be lunacy. But I'm not going to put anything by these guys. We saw what happened last year with Josh Azudu, right? So will I say it's impossible? Absolutely not. But to me, it would be a big mistake. It would be just an indictment on what your scouting was on James Hudson III. It would be an indictment on your plan. And we've seen it so many times. They flip-flop on their plans all the time. So I'm not going to put anything by them that they would do it. But you signed James Hudson for this specific situation. If Andrew Thomas can't play, that's a big if. Because I still think there's a decent shot, and it's a realistic possibility that Andrew Thomas plays week 1. Now, the clock is ticking. Tick, tick, tick. The clock is ticking. And he has to get on the field Wednesday, has to practice 11v11, contact, feel better the next day, be all right Friday, practice Friday, and feel good Saturday. And somebody says, Illuminor would play left tackle, not Bo or Hudson. Jermaine Illuminor, so you want to do that. I know that's a possibility, but Jermaine Illuminor has played right tackle 100% of the time this summer. To then go and say, no, you're playing left tackle week 1, again, would be a super, super flawed plan. Okay? I don't think you should be doing that. You don't need to be moving guys around week 1. The position, yes, he's played it in the past, but he first of all, he's a right tackle. That's the position he plays. Okay. So, recap real quick. Jackson Dart, everything seems to indicate he's going to be their number 2, but common logic would say that doesn't make a ton of sense. Andrew Thomas, realistic possibility to play week 1 against the Washington Commanders. Okay? If not, I think James Hudson's still in line for that job. The other thing of note, still listing cornerback 2, Deontay Banks / Cordell Flott, or Cordell Flott / Deontay Banks. Okay? Now, if I had a guess heading into week 1 who played better, like who earned it more, it's probably Cordell Flott. I think we might actually see both guys play. That, I think, is a possibility. So we will see how that pans out. But, again, let's see how it goes this week. We'll find out who's getting the reps with the first team defense throughout the week. That'll indicate who's going to start. My feeling on that, after watching it closely, is both guys are going to play week 1. They might alternate every series or every other series or something like that. And whoever plays better, that's how they go there. So that's where we stand for week 1. As far as people feeling better about the Giants, so I talked to our ESPN NFL Nation Washington Commanders reporter today, and something he mentioned to me was, okay, the Commanders have Terry McLaurin, who just came back, right? He had to hold that all summer. So he just started really practicing last week. Noah Brown, their number 3 receiver. It's McLaurin, Debo, Samuel, and Noah Brown. He also was injured. He just came back as well. The right side of the line, little bit unsettled. Not really sure who's going to start at right tackle. There's a veteran and then a rookie, Connerly, who maybe he'll play, maybe they'll alternate. Right guard is a little unsettled for them right now. They have basically a guy who probably should be a reserve, Nick Allegretti, I believe it is, scheduled to start at right guard. So this is a time. This could be a time where they're a little bit vulnerable. The right side of the line, hey, you're the Giants. You said we got this great defensive line. That's now we know where to attack, right? It's set up for us to attack the right side of their offensive line. Like, I won't be surprised to see at all. We've seen him already do it. Abdul Carter working on the interior as a defensive tackle type position and pass rush against their right guard, Nick Allegretti, right? That's a weak spot. That's a guy who's probably a backup. That's the matchup you want, right? All right, get Dexter Lawrence on you and then follow that up with, Dexter Lawrence, who, by the way, leans on you and pushes you back into the quarterback. And then follow that up with Abdul Carter and his speed and elusiveness and bend right there. I mean, that's, if you're the Giants, that's where you attack. So, look, I think this is definitely a spot where the Giants could surprise people in week 1, even though they're 5.5-point underdogs. I like them better in week 1 against the Commanders than I do in week 2 against the Cowboys. Even though everyone's down on the Cowboys, just traded Micah Parsons. That locker room could implode, especially if they lose week 1. But I also think week 2, home opener, Dallas Cowboys at home, Dak Prescott, ton of success against the Giants. I don't think that's a great matchup for the Giants. Like, this matchup against the Commanders, who they've traditionally done well against in recent history. I know they lost twice last year. Traditionally have done well against them. I think is a more winnable game than we're talking about. I'm watching Anthony Volpe botch the ball. Got an out, but come on. Yeah. Lost my thought. They're driving me nuts here. Try to have it on in the background. It just caught my attention. I know he's an easy target for everybody, but potential double play ball. Anyway, there we go. You got the Giants, Commanders, week 1. Commanders maybe right for the taking. Maybe. Good team. Actually, one of the older teams, more veteran teams in the league. Giants, big test. And I think this will probably determine the game. Can the Giants stop the run? Right? The Commanders are a team that's going to run the ball a lot. They have a quarterback who runs the ball. Can the Giants, this rejuvenated, reshaped, rejiggered defense, can they stop the run? That'll show how, like, if this defense could be legitimately good. So I'm reading some of these comments over here. Volpe equals JMS. Yeah, big season for JMS too. So I think week 1 here, we're going to find out kind of where the Giants stand. If they get rolled in week 1, going on the road, Cowboys home opener, week 2, that's going to be a tough one. And then come home for their opener against the Chiefs. You could easily be staring 0-3 in the face. And I said this, I think, last time. Absolutely imperative, vital for the Giants to find a way to win one of these first 2 games. And I think that for this first game against the Commanders, that's the one, to me, they have to find a way to steal this game. Because the next 2 are pretty tough. You Dak Prescott. I mean, you got Jaden Daniels, Dak Prescott, Patrick Mahomes, week 1, 2, 3. Good luck. Okay? So you start 1-1, you start 1-2, fine. Even if you start 1-3, fine. Chargers next week, week 4. Maybe get a win if you could get one of the first 3, one of the first 2, really, and then beat the Saints in week 5. Saints are going to be a bad team this year. And you're sitting at 2-3, season will settle. It'll be a fine season. Might not be great, but it'll be fine. Start out 0-2, likely 0-3 with the Chiefs. The season's going to go off the rails. Now, my prediction started, I usually make a prediction and I stick with it. And so that hasn't changed here. My prediction since the day I saw the schedule to right now has been 6-11. I think that's the Giants' range. If you tell me they win 7 games, fine. Told me win 8, okay, they would need some things to go in their favor. Not completely out of the realm of possibilities. Told me they win 5. They get off to a bad start. We see Dart early. Totally could see that too. But we will see. as far as so Bobby put everybody's that he had on the show this summer, everyone's predictions, and then he added up since they started tallying them and having us on and taking our predictions over the last few years. I believe it's pretty much. I think it coincides with the Dable and Shane era, so 4 years worth. I'm tied with Duggan for the second best record. It goes Dunleavy, who's one better than us, and then me and Duggan. And I'll say this, for the most part, a lot of people think you're so negative. I look at myself as a realist. If you go back and think about it, 2022, I definitely was too low. Okay. Grant and the Giants outperformed everybody that year. The other years, 23, 24, 25, I've actually been too high. I thought they were going to be good in 23. Maybe a better team, but a worse record. I think I picked 8 that year. So off that 2022 season, I thought they were going to be good. They won 6. Last year, I think I picked 6-ish again, 6, 7. Here you go. And they won 3. So I've actually overshot the Giants most years. They've somehow managed to go under the last few years of what I picked. So it is what it is. Those are the predictions. I'm at 6-10 right now. Let's have a little fun. Bobby, are we there?
Yes, I'm just I'm putting together the playlist of intro songs for the off season because we do the unique intros. So I'm all the way back to when the Giants signed Jameis Winston. How we doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. How about you?
Good. Because I got a good taste in music with the intro songs. Yeah, man. So the South of the Border show this weekend announced Grump as the official co-host of the show and stuff, and it was kind of like a vacation.
Props to him. Well deserved. I think it'll be good.
Very excited for that. I got to get him on here with you too. We should have done that. That should have been like PR for the new co-host. They have him on here. But
okay, we'll do it one week.
What I'm saying is that was like vacation, and then today, got back and got to work, and it's like, oh shit! It's like I'm watching Russell Wilson versus the Commanders film, preparing for a game and looking at little ways the way he was able to take advantage of them. So I'm excited.
Yeah, Giants and both teams really, but the Giants have had now 4 months to prepare for the Washington Commanders, right? And they can say what they want, but Brian Dable's been looking at this. The coaches have been looking at this for a long time, preparing to try and stop Jaden Daniels, working on his tendencies from what they saw last year as a rookie when he absolutely lit it up. And it's going to be interesting. If they can't stop the run in week 1, right, knowing you just spent 4 months scheming and game planning for this game, that's going to be a big time red flag for this team this year. So I think that is a very important thing. Now, basically what I wanted to do, I know you did this, you said like a month or so ago, some over-unders. Well, I made some over-unders, right? And I want to see where you stand, and we'll both give our opinion on them. Ready? So some of them are real. I saw some of these are legit. I'll mention which ones are real. Like Malik Neighbors, there's real over-unders out there for him. For the most part, there are not real over-unders for it's really hard to find, by the way, Russell Wilson touchdown passes, right? Things like that. Because I guess nobody knows how long he's going to play for, whether he gets benched, when we see Jackson Dart. But I'm setting the over-under. And I know you did this one, but yours is way higher than mine. So I think I know where you might fit. My over-under on Russell Wilson's TD passes this season is 15. Now, if you told me he was going to play a full year, it clearly would be higher. But that's the risk for him, right? He might not play a full year. He might only last a few games. Who knows? It's completely up in the air. So I'm setting the over-under at 15 TD passes for Russell Wilson.
Okay, so we did ours at 19.5, and this was before any preseason or anything. So Russ has hit over every single year of his career, despite 2 out of the last 3 years being 16, but barely over. Here's the thing is, I had him under the 19.5 because I'm like, well, Dart's going to play some games. It just feels like the tide is going towards Dart playing way earlier than people expected a month and a half ago. And that's why I'm going under. Like if he plays the games, then yeah, this is an easy over for you, unless he's as bad as he was with the Broncos. Because even last year's 16 was in 11 games. So So,
Well,
but
let's say Dart
if
takes over.
if he's missing games, like if he's getting benched for a Dart, he's not throwing a bunch of touchdowns in a small amount of games. So this is basically a over under like Jackson Dart 9 games played question.
Yeah, well, do you okay, let's just say they make the change at the bye week, right? So the final 4 games
Then I'll go over.
goes to Jackson Dart.
Then I'm going over because he did over that in 11 games with lesser weapons with the Steelers.
Lesser weapons? I guess so. That's probably
I mean, listen, I'm not sitting here telling you the Giants' weapons are better, but they have a better wide receiver 1, 2, and 3 than what the Steelers did last year.
Yes. So he threw 16 touchdowns in 11 games last year.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty close, right? We're talking about a similar season to what he had last year. You're talking about 13 games, though. So it would be a slight over. Now, the question is, and there's plenty of scenarios where he comes in earlier, right?
Yeah, so that Dart. You're basically betting, if you're saying under, you're betting that Dart comes in within like the first 11 games or so.
I think I'm taking the under them. I'm thinking that Dart does come, even if he comes in week 11 against the Packers, like 10 or 11, and that gives him like 7 games. It gives Wilson 10, and I'm gonna say probably under. And then, look, there's scenarios where he could be in week 4, in week 3, in week 6, in week 5, and New Orleans is a landing spot. So I don't know. I don't see Russell Wilson turning back the clock and having great success here. Could be wrong.
But he doesn't need to have great success. He just needs to play to do that. So, but here's again.
Yeah, but in order to do it in 8 games, now you're talking 2 touchdown passes a game. I don't think that version of that's Russ in his prime 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If 8 games, the answer's under. Because like you said, if he was throwing that many touchdowns in 8 games, he wouldn't be getting benched.
Okay. So that takes us to the next over under real quick.
Because I want to add on to that. Because this is part of the reasoning. It's because Wes Steinberg and Connor Hughes reported that Brian Dable went to Jackson Dart in the preseason game with the Jets. He shook Dart's hand, looked him straight in the eyes, and just said, "I love you." No emotion, no hug. Said it, then walked away. Staff, front office, know he's ready. They won't hesitate to go on. So that was reported by both Connor Hughes and Wes Steinberg. So you know that they like the Dart kid.
Wes Steinberg is not a real person. Let's just put that out there. But yeah, it is a funny bit. Yeah, like that's how the Giants think about Jackson Dart. That's how Brian Dable, I should say, thinks about Jackson Dart. So put that all into a ball, keep it in consideration. It's part of the equation. So naturally, that should take us to the next over-under. I have Jackson Dart games played at 7.5. Okay? So 7.5 means in order to get over there, he would have to come in before week 10. Okay? 49ers is week 9. Just so happens to be, and the Bears are week 10 at Chicago in week 10. If he comes in week 10, he hits the over, right? That's 8 starts and plays the rest of the season. Where are we going? Where are we standing? Jackson Dart, 7.5. I should make it starts. I should make that clear. It's got to be starts because like if he comes in another game or 2, we can't count that. Starts.
Yeah, I'm going over. If there's people have asked me like, what's the thing that training camp and preseason have changed your mind on the most is like they're going to go to Dart quicker than people imagined. And yeah, I think they're going to him early. So over under 7.5 stat starts. Yes, which I don't think is even that bad. My ideal amount of starts for him is 5. Coming in for that Patriots Monday Night Football game, getting a bye week, and then going to Commanders out of the bye week. So,
agreed. In my opinion, that would be the ideal situation that you're able to, sit him until week 13, 14, 15, whatever it may be. I'm fine with any of those 3 spots. 14's a bye, obviously. So weeks 13 or 15, I'm fine with either of those spots if that's where you want to put in Jackson Dart. But my gut tells me at some point pressure's going to be on, and the Giants will make that move earlier. So I'm going to go over as well on Jackson Dart as I burp up in the middle of the answer there. I don't want anyone to think that was intentional.
Were you screaming
noise
this weekend? Your voice cracked a couple times.
I know my voice is actually going
yelling
a
at your
little bit
kids
right
or something.
I did yell at my kids today. I did. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to make it through. I'm trying to make it through right now. So we're doing the best we can, Bobby. So let's go to the next over under. Okay. Abdul Carter. And I don't even know where I want to go on this one at the moment. Because I think I made such a good number. 7.5 sacks.
Over. I think he leads the team in sacks. You know,
Whoa.
Brian Burns has hit double digits only once. Dex has never done it, despite the fact that he would have done it last year if he didn't get injured. So I'm going over. It's not to say he's going to be dominant week in, week out, but the type of player he is that even if he doesn't have the Micah Parsons level of rookie season, what he is going to do is he's going to find a tackle matchup and he's going to have 3 sacks in a game. And then there's another game where he has 1.5, and then you've got 4 sacks over the next 15 games to hit that over number. So I'm going over on that.
I'm kind of torn. I don't even know what I want to do with that. Probably would need to take a starting role at some point or have one of the other 2 edge rushers get injured just so that I'll take over 2. I think 8's realistic for him. I do. I think 8 is realistic of him.
8 is like the number you want to hit for like top rookie quarterbacks rookie pass rushers, and I have the numbers from this is why I keep my notes for everything. The rookies to do it in the last 5 years hit the 8. Braden Fisk 8.5, Kobe Turner 9, Aiden Hutchinson 9.5, Micah Parsons 13, Jalen Phillips 8.5. That was the over 8 number. I know Z's hit 8 exactly, but I think we view him on like those level of players, like the Aiden Hutchinson, Micah Parsons rookie year. So
I'm just a little leery. Let's see how the opportunities come early in the season that they might sort of ease him in. That's the one thing that kind of has me a little scared. Like he's going to need to play a lot, and he should. And we'll see if they somehow make that happen.
I just think he has 1 3-sack game in him, and that makes the rest of the season easy to hit that number.
True. Well, we'll see. Like you said, it's not an easy thing to do to get near double-digit sacks as a rookie in the NFL. How about Malik Neighbors? So these are real over-unders from Malik Neighbors that exist, not me, not the Book of Raanan creating over-unders here. Neighbors is 105.5 catches, 1,175.5 yards. You actually had your over-under you sent me was 1,300 yards. So to me, that seems like that's an easy smash for you. Just go with the over there.
Yeah, so for our over-enders, it's one, like you said, it's hard to find these, but I'm more of like, let's make this conversational and tough. So the yards over, what was the receptions?
105.5.
I'll say
I would
over
actually
to get over 1,300 yards at 12 yards per catch. That's probably right over that 105 number. The catch number, I'm not as confident, but the yards, I'm over on that.
See, I would probably go under on the catches, especially if he misses a game or 2 and he gets injured or banged up. That makes it really hard to get. But I probably go over with the yards. So I think he could be more productive on less catches and targets this year, because last year, and I had a player tell me this at one point, like it's not sustainable the way they were playing offense last year with the number of targets he was getting per game. Like that target share they thought was unrealistic or unhealthy for a good team. And I think that's actually true to a degree. Like you can't just, every pass can't just go to him.
Yeah.
Like they got to utilize more people if you want to ultimately be successful. So I would probably take the under on catches, but the over on yards.
Which I don't think any Giants fan is worried about him having 100 catches. It really is all about the yards for him.
Okay, how about these two? Made up of the Book of Raanan. Jalen Hyatt, 14.5 catches.
Under.
So you're taking the under?
Yeah, I don't think he should be. I'm
going to take the over on that. I think he's going to be more productive than you do. I think we're on the opposite ends of the spectrum on this. He's not going to be every week significant contributor, but I think there'll be a play or two each week where we're getting.
How
the
many
ball.
did he have as a rookie when he was a starter? Jalen Hyatt.
I don't know off the top of my head. I know last year, what was it, 6 or 8?
He had 8 last year. So I guess 14 is a low number. He had 23 as a rookie. And this is not about this over under. My thing with Hyatt, because be like, oh well, he can get big plays, and yeah, he's only your first backup. My issue with Hyatt, like people talk about what he can do, and surely, like he can have some big games this year. I bet he could have 3 big games this year. The issue I have with Jalen Hyatt is not what he can do for a few plays. It's the negative that he is on the rest of the plays where he's so like defenses know what he's doing. They don't have to worry about him. They can press him into oblivion. He screws up the progression for the quarterbacks. He makes the reads for the safeties easier. He's not an option in the quick game. So that's my frustration with Jalen Hyatt. It's not that's why I would
He should be an option in the quick game, by the way.
But
I don't get that.
He's not.
I don't get that. I know he hasn't been. I think he should be. They should utilize him in that way. They should get him the ball in different ways. His speed is unique. It's a weapon that they're not finding a way to utilize.
Yeah, but they have speed guys. They have Malik Neighbors is fast. Darius Slayton's fast. Again, Jalen
Hyatt is different level fast.
Yeah, but he also can only do one thing. So when you're just like that, what good are you when you can only do that? Yes, he is faster than Neighbors and Hyatt or Neighbors and Slayton. But guess what? Those guys get down the field faster because they can beat press quicker. So there's plenty of times where Hyatt's faster than Darius Slayton. Slayton's 10 yards further down the field. So
Slayton's a better player. I agree. But I'm going over 14.5. I do think they find a way to utilize him. All right, let's end with this one. Ready? This is also a made up one by me. I was trying to come up with a number for Cam Skattebo at this point. And by the way, it's definitely Skattebo. I asked him specifically.
It's been that.
Yeah, I know. But it's spelled Skattebo. You could go with Skatibo, or he said that technically is when they came to America, his family. That's what it was. Some version of that. But it's Skattebo is what they go by now. Okay. 499 rushing yards this season.
Under.
Tyrone Tracy is the number one, right? We agree with that?
You got Tracy as your lead back. Singletary is going to get more totes than you think. And then even Skattebo, he's dealt like if there's anyone you're betting was going to miss some games due to injury, Skattebo has been the one. So it's just too much for a guy who is not even clear running back 2 for this team right now. Like I think people will be mad about it, but I think Singletary gets more snaps than Cam Skattebo week 1.
What do you think? I'll make an over under snaps for week 1.
Oh, I don't know.
7.5 for
Devin
Singletary.
Snaps over.
You think he's going to go over to that?
Yeah, not carries, but snaps.
Pass blocking? Is that your theory here?
Yeah, and then again, Singletary's
most trustworthy pass blocker is him.
Singletary is also not a terrible running back. I don't understand how he went from like a good replacement level back to like we got to take him off the team for Turbo Miller. So it's just Skattebo dealing with injury put him behind the 8 ball a little bit. Like that's as simple as it is. Where he would like they already kind of started him as running back 3. They let him start earning him some more reps in training camp, and then as soon as he started doing that, he got injured. So it's really just me not knowing what his role is and just betting the under on that.
I'm going to go out on the ledge here and go over on that, just because running back is a position where guys get banged up so easily. I think we might have a stretch where he's their feature back with a 2 or 3 game stretch. And if you have a 2 or 3 game stretch where he's the feature back, I think that obviously helps your rushing yard total significantly. So I think at some point we're going to see him getting 15 carries in a game or something.
So you said 499?
499.
I'm going to do a quick study on how many RB2s had more than 499 last year.
Well, you could look at the Bucky Irving, a guy like that, who's probably started as a number 2, right? He obviously end as number 2, but he definitely was a number 2 that definitely topped that. By the way, you don't have to look very far. Tyrone Tracy is a guy who topped that last year, starting as the number 2, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about guys who stay running back 2, though.
But we don't know. What if Skattebo is a really good player and he eventually gets ahead of Tyrone Tracy?
Yeah.
That's not an impossible scenario.
No, it's not. There's more than I
think
thought.
it works out that way, but it's not impossible.
There's a lot more RB2s that got more than that than I thought. Antonio Gibson, Jalen Warren, Emmanuel Wilson, Zach Charbonnet, Rashad White, Algier.
That's why it's a good number, right?
So there's more than Bigsby, more guys than I thought. So yeah, it's not a. I thought I was gonna really bust that one. And
all right, let's finish with this one because I do have one more that I think is interesting. Theo Johnson, 475.5 receiving yards.
For a what?
475. So basically needs to get about 500 yards receiving.
Can we do a note if he's healthy for all the year? It's an over. If he's missing 4 or 5 games,
that's part of the risk. That's part of the risk with him.
Is he going to practice full tomorrow?
Well, I first of all, there's no way they list him full. He's going to be at least.
Is he
everyone who's banged up is at least going to be limited.
I'll say under because he's injured right now.
Yeah,
but my goal for him as a player is like a 600-yard season this year. If he played at the way he did once he after those first 4 games of the year, that kind of puts him at that between 6 and 650. But
I cannot see him.
Shutout games too.
I cannot see him being a 650 guy with Russell Wilson who doesn't throw the ball off and down the middle of the field.
No,
that's my
concern.
concern, maybe more than anything else. Like he'll do damage on like screen passes. We've seen a lot of that this summer. A lot of that even in the preseason. You see him outside the numbers a little bit. Quick passes. I think he's limited though, upside wise, especially by Russell Wilson, because he's a smaller quarterback. This is who he is. That's not his strength, throwing tight end middle of the field. Like if you told me Jackson Dart was starting all 17 games, I'd probably have a higher outlook for Theo Johnson.
So what was the number again?
475.5. You took the over. I got the under.
Yeah, I'll just say over. Let me be positive. Let me finish it off positive.
There you go. Finish with a positive. All right. Let's answer some questions here. 10 minutes worth of questions and we'll get out of here.
All right.
Appreciate everyone for joining us. As always, like, subscribe. Make sure you like this YouTube video specifically and also subscribe to the YouTube channel, both Giant Sports Nation and Breaking Big Blue. Okay, look for them both out there.
Get your questions in. I try to not look at the chat when we're rapping, but I do peek over and there's been some like Russell Wilson wars going on.
Yeah, Truth Bearer over here is I think the one who he must be Russell Wilson or something.
Maybe. I haven't been seeing the names. I just saw people being like just fighting about Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I just think he was. I saw he was getting on me for. I'm not the biggest Russell Wilson believer. When you're on your 4th team in 5 years, it's just hard for me to believe that he's gonna, get suddenly revert to his old self. Like the Pittsburgh Steelers made a decision to go Aaron Rodgers instead of Russell. But like that's where Russell Wilson is at this point of his career. This whole everything, the optimism. Everything he's done, he's a good guy, but everything he's done kind of has been the MO for what he's done everywhere he's gone. He creates a little positivity, and then the results are not bad, but they're sort of pedestrian. And I think he's not prime Russ. So
yeah.
Did I filibuster enough for you to queue up a couple questions?
I mean, Unlimited Liquid, he's asking me to ban people from the chat, which is a crazy ask. I basically won't ban you unless you are putting links or saying something.
And I will also never block anybody. I don't care what you say, basically.
So
as bad a human beingly as you are, I could just ignore you. I would not give you the pleasure of admitting you got to me.
You know what? I started doing it, which is not a lot, but I have a handful of blocks. Just people who just are following just a and if I could tell you have a real account and you're from a burner account, I block.
So you block Dunleavy?
Yes, I do block, or at least I block his burner account. So there was a question about someone asked Chauncey Golston. Timothy Flood, where does Chauncey Golston play more, inside or edge?
I think it'll probably be inside because at some point we're going to see Abdul Carter, basically, especially if someone gets banged up playing on the outside more and more, that'll open up the opportunities eventually for Chauncey Golston. If everyone stays healthy, Chauncey Golston's not going to see the field that often, to be honest with you, early in the year. He'll be very limited, sprinkled into some special packages, but you won't see him very often. But maybe some rundowns you might see him on the edge. So that's why it's a tough one. Rundowns you might see him on the edge more. And then pass downs, definitely more on the interior.
Pat Hanlon asks, which Giants play caller will have more pressure on them, Kafka or Bowen?
Yeah, I love the fact that Pat Hanlon is listening and following and joining us every week. It's got to be Bowen, only because if the offense goes bad, it's still considered Dable's offense, right? Like it's still going to fall under him. Like, so I think Dable's under more pressure. What will happen if Kafka is struggling calling plays or Dable doesn't like it, he'll just pull it from him in the middle of the game. It's happened before. It can happen again. He won't last the season. So I think people know that he doesn't have just full reign. It's still Brian Dable being super, super involved. The more pressure to me is definitely on Shane Bowen, who needs to do a better job this year. You heard the owner basically say, he didn't like what he saw from his defense last year. That puts pressure on the defensive play caller.
Rick Bowman says, research Rick, what are you asking Mike Kafka and Shane Bowen on Thursday? That's a good question.
Wow. I guess we're asking Kafka and Daboll this week if you'd be open to using a quarterback in specific packages and shuffling him in and out during games, right? A la Jackson Dart. Is that a possibility? Were you for or against that if they decided to do that?
Against that.
Me too. I don't think it would be a good idea, but it's
be interesting
possible.
To see how Brian Dable doesn't answer that question. If he just goes full blown, like, yeah, we'll make all our decisions, or if he gives you a clear, like, no, Russ is our QB1. Mike Kafka will spend a minute, 5 seconds sounding like he's answering it, but not actually answering it.
Yeah, there's no way in the world he'll answer. But that's something that, I just have to see what their reactions are to that this week.
Shane Bowen's the one who will answer a question, though.
Yeah, with Shane Bowen is I want to know what his ultimate expectations are. Like, what does he think this defense could be this season? Like, what's the bar? What are we looking at here? Are we looking at he realistically thinks this could be and should be a top 5 defense? Like, if that's what they're aiming for, like, I want to know what we think this defense can be. And I think that's realistic if he says top 10, top 5. I know he won't give a number, but you get the point.
You guys will talk to positional coaches next week, right?
I don't know the exact schedule. They're not on the schedule this week.
Trashman says, Jordan, what's your favorite scented hand lotion?
I don't know, but we have these smelly soaps in our house. When you wash your hands, they're tremendous. I think it might be like a cinnamon or something, man, but it's good. You
want to know something? Other people are asking that question about the dart playing in circuit package. I saw a couple of people ask that.
Yeah. It is what it is. I know there's been some people we've had this conversation in the media room. I just don't see that being a smart thing to do with your young rookie quarterback, and he's your future. Like, we're going to throw him in and do that and just have him take hits. Well, Juice doesn't seem worth the squeeze to me on that one.
Well, you play QB1 again, unless you have some it's like a Joe Flacco Lamar thing where you have this one guy who can do amazing things with his legs. You keep your quarterback in. Michael O'Brien, thanks for the super chat. His thoughts on Entertainer. I mean, our thoughts on Entertainer. We love him. Or at least I do. I don't know how Jordan feels. I know he had that war with content creators a couple years ago.
No, I just don't like how they just they're taking your stuff and it's like they just found it off a tree on top of their computer.
Oh,
that wasn't an Entertainer thing at all. Like, it wasn't against anyone on YouTube either.
It was more about Instagram accounts. So, yes, this guy does credit you. This Big Blue Film Room. I'm pretty sure it's that Vincent Rapsardi guy.
I've seen those lately.
Yeah, he quotes this whole show. So I want to request a quote.
What do you want?
Let's see. The Giants are looking to be the first team to go 17-0. Bobby Skinner says. Let's see.
I mean, it's hard to see even realistic questions because Truth Bear is just killing us with this Russ banter.
I'm not even reading it. I'm being honest. I'm just not reading it. I'm looking for anything that has a question mark. I'll let you. Chris Dickinson, New Jersey. This is perfect.
I just scrolled up randomly. I mean, it's hard to sift through right now all this stuff.
What do you call it? Pork roll or Taylor ham?
All right. I don't know. I go back and forth. I call it bacon, egg, and cheese. That's my go-to.
BEG.
But I probably go pork roll.
Let's finish with this one.
Michael O'Brien.
Yeah, Jordan, big fan. Is Pat Leonard liked?
I like Pat Leonard. I think he's a good guy. Like he's a good guy at heart. I mean, I there's people in the organization I'm sure that aren't the biggest Pat Leonard fans, but I got a good relationship with him. He's always been nice to me. Like Pat Leonard is liked, I think, by most of the people on the beat. I don't know if I could say the same about the Giants organization, but that's a completely different story. Good dude though, and he's the kind of guy I go out play golf with him or drink with him on the road. I hang out with him all the time, so he's a friend of mine. I will say that for sure.
This is a good question to end the show on because I'll let you do this. As Rick Bowen says, who are the inactives on Sunday? Which reminds me, pre-game live streams are back. We didn't do those the last year and a half. And I'll say this: if the Giants get terrible, I don't know how long we're going to do them. But I'm doing that, and that part of that is the Guess the Inactive game that myself and whoever does the show with me, whether it's Danny King or somebody else. Danny King is busy this year. Unfortunately, he's not as involved with the show. Who are the inactives on Sunday? So you need 6 of them.
Okay, we need 6 of them because we got the third quarterback is technically inactive, but he doesn't count, right?
So no, that is one of the 6. So it'd be Jameis Winston.
I think it'll be Jackson Dart.
Okay, all right. So Jackson Dart.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm just going by logic. I might be on the wrong side of this. I don't know. Definitely possible. Let's see.
One of the backup offensive linemen.
It's got to be an offensive lineman. Thomas Fidone is one.
Fidone, okay.
Yeah, you can't play all these guys.
Yeah. You know who it should be?
Trying to think if Bo Brate is inactive or not. He could work his way onto special teams. I'm going to say Aaron Stinney is inactive. Week 1.
That's a shame.
Why?
Because he's better than Evan Neal.
Making Evan Neal inactive would draw a lot of attention, right?
It would, but it's the right decision, I think. Because he's a development. Like, again, my view on him is he is someone who is spending the year developing at guard, and at the end of the year, if they're bad, you want to throw them in because you're just curious.
Is Nick Jones a gunner?
3.
Darius Alexander or DJ Davidson? Probably should be Alexander, but I'm going to go with DJ Davidson.
Jake Davidson, 4.
I need one more.
You need 2 more. You did the quarterback, Fidone, Stinney, Davidson. Did you say Bo Brade or Nick Jones?
One of those 2 guys. Who's the gunner? I don't know what Bo Brade even does, to be honest with you, yet.
Yeah. Just go Bo Brade then. 5.
I am going to go Bo Brade. It's a little early for them to integrate.
They claimed a safety last year in Anthony Johnson, and he was like a healthy scratch all year long.
Yeah, he never played. Maybe we have to do another lineman here.
Would they put even though Schlotman is their backup center, would they healthy scratch him?
Well, I guess Van Roten could be your backup center, though.
And the reality is, as much as I love Marcus Bowe, if Thomas is playing, you don't need 2 backup tackles in a game. So it makes sense to have one of the tackles as a healthy inactive.
Yeah, you're probably right on that. So,
it's only 5. Excuse me. For some reason, I thought you had to get down to 47, but it's 48. Okay, so we're good.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Why don't you close this out?
All right. You're listening to Breaking Big Blue Giant Sports Nation collab. Like, subscribe, tell your friends. I'm Jordan Raanan. He's Bobby Skinner. See you next time.